Hey guys, how are y'all doing? Welcome to another episode of Digicel Money Talk, right here on Facebook. It's nice to be back here on Digicel Money Talk for another chat with you all. If we haven't met yet, I am Luana Laura, founder of Finance Focus. You can check it out on Facebook, Instagram, and on my YouTube channel for free financial tips. Today, we are going to shake up your coins. So you could also find this on my Facebook page, Finance Focus. I'm about to share the link right now. How is everyone doing? How is your Sunday going? Since I last saw y'all in April, what have you been up to? How has COVID-19 changed your lifestyle? What new forms of entertainment did you try? How many of you decluttered your space? Let me know in the comments so I could see. How many new chefs are here? I finished a few cylinders myself. So you can imagine how much cooking I have been doing. But what I really want to know is how have you been managing your finances? Who has been budgeting? Anyone spending less? Let me know. Any one of y'all spent more? What did you spend it on? I've been spending more on groceries for sure, but I'm also saving money from not eating out as much. Any one of y'all doing any job searching? If y'all have any job or business opportunities, you can feel free to share it in the comments. Anyone making more money? If you are, can you tell us how you did it? I'm sure we would really like to know how you made money this past months. And if you tuned into the previous chat that we had in April, did any of the tips from the last live work for you? Tell us. Yes, Kathleen, I spent a lot on groceries. In the previous chat, I gave you some tools that could help you to prepare for the immediate impact that we're going to feel from COVID-19. If you were displaced, you would have received some ease by way of the assistance programs and the small business loan facility. But unfortunately, not all may have qualified. And I sympathize with you guys. I know it's not easy out there, but don't just sit there though. Try to bring in some money into your home by any means. You need to take action. Don't just sit here and wait because you don't have a job. Go out looking for one. For those who are still employed, what did you notice about your spending habits? Anything changed? Now, from what we can see, the region is slowly opening up its borders. Soon, our borders will be opened as well. And we notice that we are returning to some semblance of normalcy, and we have access to most places right now. And guess what? We are also in the hurricane season. Grimy. Are our finances ready for that? Are we going to brush it under a rug and deal with it when we're ready? Of course not. Nuh-uh. We're not going to brush it under a rug. And guess why? It's because of our answers to these 3 questions. I'm going to ask you some questions, and you're going to think of the answer. Are we financially prepared for emergencies? Do you feel like you're prepared for an emergency right now? Do we feel like we're always broke? Or like I like to call it, have limited cash flow, because I don't like the word broke. I prefer to say I have limited cash flow. And you should start saying that too. Don't say you're broke, say you have limited cash flow. Is our money done before the month ends? If we answered yes to any one of those questions, then we have no choice but to focus on this right now. But before we can do that, I want us to forgive ourselves of any past money mistakes that we've made. We are not perfect. Don't hold it against yourself. We will continue to make money mistakes. What is important is, where do we go from here? At Finance Focus, I am all about the practical steps that it can take us from point A to point B. And as we ease into our new normal, quote unquote, I'm going to take you through some basic steps that can ease the transition and prepare you for the unknown. Guys, we may not want to admit it now, but it may get rough. And if you're already struggling, let's do something about it. With these 3 simple steps, we are going to prepare ourselves financially for the unknown. Yes, I said simple, but we have to put it to work if we want change. And these steps have actually worked for me and my followers over a period of time. So are you all ready to find out what are the steps that we need to take to prepare our finances? The first thing we want to do is assess where you are. How are your finances right now? How much debt do you have? Are you living from paycheck to paycheck? Have you ever assessed where you are? Did you assess where you are in the past months? The second thing we'll want to do is budget and watch our spending habits. How many of us budget and actually stick to it? By doing these 3 things, we put a plan in place to plan for the future. So we have to assess where we are. We have to budget and watch our spending habits. And of course, we have to put a plan in place. These 3 things can prepare us to face the uncertainty that is coming with the economic environment. Do you think you can do that? Do you think you can really prepare your finances for the future? Let's have an honest conversation with ourselves. Have you ever sat and assessed where you are right now? Well, we are going to do an exercise. We are going to evaluate our finances right now, right here on Digicel Live. I am giving you 1 minute to get your pens, papers, and calculators, because we're going to evaluate our finances. Go ahead. Get your pens and papers. We're going to get practical this afternoon because we want to assess where we are. If you could only look at 1 metric to evaluate your financial process, it would be your net worth. And what is that? That is your assets minus your liabilities. Many times we hear of the rich having net worths of 1 million, 5 billion, and now we hear that Bezos could be worth $1 trillion. Unbelievable, right? We know what they're worth, but why can't we know what we're worth, right? Our net worth reflects all the financial decisions that we've made through our lifetime. Think of it as your financial report card. Now, we may not have all the information right now, but we can do a rough estimate. So are you ready to calculate your net worth? You got your pens, you got your papers. Are you ready? I want you to write down the value of everything that you own that's considered an asset. The cash in your wallet, the cash in your checking account, in your savings account, the value of any investment that you have, your home, your vehicles, not the loan amount, the value that you believe it's worth, and any gross cash value that's on your insurance policies. Come on, calculate all your assets. If you're not sure exactly what the figures are, estimate it right now. It doesn't have to be perfect. Once you've calculated all your assets, bring them to mind. Your cash, how much cash do you have in your wallet? How much cash do you have in your savings account? If you made any investments over the year, how much do you think they're worth right now? What do you think the value of your home is and your vehicles? What is the cash value on your life policies and your endowment plans? Once you add all that up, I want you to subtract everything that you have as debt. Calculate the balance of your student loans, your credit card debt, your mortgage, your vehicle loan, any fast cash, big edge, national bank, any credit union loans that you have, any people that you owe, and any loans that you have on your insurance policies. These are your liabilities. Now, you will realize that your income does not factor into this equation at all because we are gauging what we currently have versus what we owe. So I'm going to plug some figures into a tool that I created to show you what I'm talking about. And I'm using the Finance Focus Net Worth Calculator. Can you see the calculator on your screen? This tool outlines the different types of assets and liabilities that an individual can have. Our scenario here is an individual who is in his mid-30s with no dependents. And please remember that these figures are only for illustrative purposes, right? So let's assume that the individual owns a piece of land that's valued at $45,000. He has $500 in his wallet and he has $6,000 in his savings. His vehicle is valued at $16,000. And although he rents, his furnishings are valued at about $8,000. His jewelry is worth about $1,500. What can you see? You can see that the tool shows you that his total assets equal $104,000. That's awesome, right? Did you calculate yours? Do you now see how much your assets are worth? Let's take a look at the liabilities. The loan for the land, let's assume that it's about $26,000 right now. He has some credit cards that he owes about $5,000, $8,000, and another $5,000. He owes about $4,000 to friends. When it comes to his loans, he owes a payday loan for about $6,000. And his vehicle loan remains about $14,000. His student loan is about $25,000. What do we see here? We see that his total liabilities is $93,000. What is the value of your liabilities? Do you see what the net worth is? It's about $11,000. Did you know what your net worth was before this? Did you ever take the time out to calculate your net worth? Let me know in the comments if you're happy to see your net worth now. What we can see here is that the net worth is positive. What does this mean? If your net worth is positive, that means your assets exceed your liabilities, and you should continue to maintain that position and increase it some more. You should always try to maintain a fair balance of your assets and your liabilities, or your debt. On the other hand, if your net worth is negative, it's time to get back on track. And you'll need to tackle your debts first, because your debt exceeds your assets. And that is not a place that you want to be in the long run. Now, it's okay if you have a negative net worth. Don't sweat it at all. The point here is to write down where your net worth stands in hopes of improving it, because that's what we're all about at Finance Focus. We like to see where we are in order to know what action we need to take to go forward. Your net worth is nothing more than a personal measuring stick on how well you're doing with your money. So by looking at that, by looking at your net worth right now, it helps you to put things into perspective. So what's next? From this little exercise, we now have a clearer picture of where our finances are at. Because before we can improve our finances, we needed to know where we are. Now, to do so, we need to ask ourselves, where do we go from here? Will our finances stand the test of uncertain times? Will we use all our savings? What if you don't have a savings? Will we max out our credit cards? What if you're facing all of this, plus you've lost your job? Pause. I can sense some anxiety rising. Let's all take a deep breath. Let's close our eyes Inhale and exhale, and ask yourself, what can I control? What can you control here? There's always something you can control. What can you control here? Anyone has questions about the net worth worksheet? I know, right, Sam? It helps you to know where you are. So whether your net worth is positive or negative, the key is knowing what you can control. So now that we know where we are, where are we going? The next step in planning for uncertain times is to establish a monthly budget. A budget is just a plan for your money. And by listing all our income and all our expenses, we'll know exactly where our money is going and how to control it to relieve anxiety. The 50-30-20 budget worksheet can help you with that. Yes, it can. And right now, I'm going to take you through an exclusive. Finance Focus has created a customizable budget worksheet based on the 50-30-20 rule. I am so excited to share this with you guys. You are going to get an exclusive walkthrough on how this tool works and what it has done for me and my followers of Finance Focus, and how it can help you in the coming months to plan for the future. Because without a budget, you will not know where you are going. Many people think that it takes a lot to start off when it comes to managing your finances, but believe me, you can make it easy. So we faced some challenging days during the peak of COVID-19, and we had to reevaluate how we spent our money. We were told to stock up, and it was the middle of the month. Some of us may have had our hours reduced, or some may have had total job loss. Some may have even gotten new dependents out of the situation. Did you have to take on more debt to survive? Did your finances survive the past 3 months? If it didn't, we're going to prevent that from happening. The 50-30-20 budget rule speaks to the percentages of needs, wants, and savings against your income. What does this mean? For a beginner, you should aim for your needs to be no more than 50% of your income. You should aim for your wants to be no more than 30% of your income. And you should aim for your savings and investments to be at least 20% of your income. Notice I did not say it must be. I said you should aim for that. So are you all ready to see what this can do for you? Are you ready to see what this can do for you? Now, how are you going to aim for that? You can do that by tracking your expenses to determine your spending habits and thinking of ways to increase your income. Because we have this mentality here that our incomes are fixed and we don't know what to do with anything else. Now, this isn't a perfect system. The tool is aimed to bring awareness to your spending patterns and how you can improve to live more comfortably. When I created this tool, it showed me that my needs were like almost 80% of my salary. I was like, what? I could not believe it. And I couldn't change all of my needs, so I had to start increasing my income to reduce that percentage. And I'm now down to 70%. That is still high, and that is not acceptable on my terms, but I am aiming for 50. And you can do that too. In order to supplement the extra money for my needs, I would have to sacrifice on some wants. But I did not sacrifice my savings. It could have been $20. I put it away in a money jar. The key here is knowing where you are so that you can do something about it. And many times we spend without even knowing where our money goes. It's time that we take back that power into our hands and tell it where to go, even before tough times fall on us. So I will go through a scenario that will show you how this tool works and the awareness that it brings from the impact of spending money, right? Our scenario is a single person, one dependent, and fixed source of income. The budget worksheet I outlined here shows in the first row the gross monthly income. So you would use your payslip to gather that information. The second set of rows outline your key spending areas, namely your needs, wants, and savings, because these are the areas that you spend money on. Lower down, we have a list of expenses that you can change and suit to your lifestyle. You will notice that the percentage of the budget is at 100%. Financial advice dictates that an individual should set targets for spending in these areas. That is, as I mentioned, 50, 30, and 20. At no time should your needs be 100% of your income. And if it is, then you really need to work on that. So we outlined the different expenses that are available and you can customize them to suit your lifestyle. You can even interchange between what you consider a need and a want. Other sheets that are on this worksheet is a pie chart to show you exactly what percentage of your actual expenses you're placing in the sheet. It will actually tell you the percentage of your income that you use to pay for your needs and wants. On the third sheet, it would highlight what you've spent on money so far versus your target. So right now, as you can see, we have here a target using a $2,000 salary. On the balance sheet, it shows us how much of our salary that is remained to spend. And of course, we have a spending sheet that will actually show us the trend of our spending. And that is my favorite sheet. But let's do a quick 3-month scenario. And remember that these figures are realistic. They are not realistic whether they are or not, whether it suits your situation. What is important is that it's the process and the journey which can assist you in making strategic decisions about your finances, because we want to know where we are going and how we are going to get there come July. So let's start with a fixed monthly income of $2,000. Based on the rule, it shows that he should aim to spend $1,000 on his needs, $600 on his wants, and $400 on his savings and investments. It looks impossible, right? On a $2,000 salary. It looks really impossible. But let's see what he actually spends. Let's assume that his rent is $700 a month. His car payment is $250. He has no insurance. So sad. That's unfortunate. His groceries, he spends about $250. His electricity, he spends about $80. His student loan is about $350. His internet is $100. He has one dependent, and in that month of January, he spent about $300 on his child. He also spent about $150 for personal care, and he has a payday loan of $150. So So let's take a look at the budget versus spending sheet. Whoa. Look at that. It actually shows that he spent in excess of $2,000 on his needs. He committed his entire salary to his needs and even used the money that he had lying around. Let's enter his wants. So we're in January and Carnival is coming up. So he spent a bit, about $125 on pre-Carnival preparations. His Netflix is $30. He went out for Carnival warm-up and spent about $150. His entertainment was $150. Now, guys, this is his actual spend. At the end of the day, he comes in and he puts in that amount and he adds it up as the month is going. This is a work in progress, right? What we can see based on the 50-30-20 rule from our pie chart is that his needs make up 84% of his expenses. And as you can see in the balance tab, he has funded his needs from extra money that he had lying around. He has exceeded his target of $1,000 for his needs by $1,340. However, though he remains $145 for his wants that he can still spend on his wants, he can't save because he has no extra cash. His income can change. So what can he do? Because of the budget worksheet, he realized that his rent takes up a significant portion of his needs. So he goes out and he looks for a roommate. With his salary of $2,000, he gets a roommate, which reduced his rent to $350. His car payment remains the same. His internet cuts down by 50. His groceries cut down by 100. His electricity cut down by 350. His loan repayments remain the same all during the month. But he had an unexpected expense because he had to get a crown on his teeth, which caused him to spend $450. Right? His personal loan remains because his loans are committed, and he spent less on his personal care. He was able to get some assistance from his friends to take care of his child's expenses because of the major expense that he had for medicals. Now, because he didn't have insurance, he had to end up spending that $450 with no hope of a return. Let's take a look at our spending trend. As you can see for month 2, his needs reduced significantly, all because he was able to identify that he needed to manage his expenses. But let's continue with his wants. Although he was under a lot of pressure, he still went out and enjoyed Carnival and spent about $1,000. Because he took a loan, he has money lying around. How many of you tally up what you spent after major events? You should maybe start doing that to see how much money that you spend during these major events. Now let's look at the chart. For the year to date, he had said that he would make his needs half of his expenses. of his income. But right now, he has exceeded his point. His needs are way over his targets. His wants are way over his targets. And he has yet to save a dime. He is still exceeding his allowances. And he complains that he can't save. What does this chart tell us? It tells us that while his wants are year to date $1,200, he exceeded it from spending for Carnival. And he now has a reduced allowance of $285. He cannot spend any more on his wants based on his income. He realizes that he needs to do something about it. And after seeing his spending trend, he decides he wants to do something about it. Now, because of this tool, he was able to see his spending habits over the past 2 months, and he decided he was going to cut back on discretionary spending to try to make it up on his budget. He realizes that his loans are taking a significant amount of his salary. So he considered a refinance, which allowed him to reduce his entire loan payments to $250. With all the other expenses remaining the same, he was able to balance off more and use some more money to where the areas needed to be. Now it's after Carnival. With his goal of spending less, he decided he wouldn't go out and lying so much, but he still ended up having some unexpected expenses. And of course, he would have eaten out a few times. That's natural. Unfortunately, because of his needs component, he is still unable to meet his targets for the year. He's still beneath his target of spending $2,000 on his need. Take a look at the spending chart. What do you see? He was able to bring down his needs by just refinancing. Although he's still unable to save, he was able to put his expenses under more control. Now, this tool was able to assist him in making strategic decisions for a roommate and refinance after he evaluated his spending using that tool. And he made an effort to become more conservative in monthly after he realized that taking part in Carnival threw off his targets and he wanted for his wants for the year to date. It even made him realize that, he needs to increase his income because his needs aren't going anywhere. But he was able to realize that sooner or later just by using this tool. Now, stay with me here. I have a few more tips later that can help even more. So some of us can relate, some can't because we have different situations. And some of us don't go to Carnival, some of us live at home. But the fact remains that all of us have expenses. How many of us really tabulated our expenses to the point where it guides our thought process and financial decisions? This is what the tool is really about. Do you have more clarity on how you can manage your finances? As with anything in life, it requires commitment and dedication. If we want to achieve various goals, we have to make the extra effort to achieve them. If we really want to master our finances, it requires us to take time out every day and update the sheet to monitor the trends. If we wait to do this monthly, we will miss out on spending habits we could have improved of along the way. So I recommend that you update this spreadsheet daily. Yes, Brenton, it is simple to use and it makes us more aware of our financial situation. It makes us more aware of our spending. But even though we may budget to the T, there are always those unexpected expenses that prevent us from sticking to our budget. Now, remember I told you this is not a perfect system. How do we budget for unexpected expenses? Well, because of the tool, we would have known over the months what came up and how much they costed. We can now categorize our past unexpected expenses by categories to the point where we notice that they may not really be unexpected. They were just overlooked. So, for example, you've budgeted for food for the week and you've passed by and you want a donut at Nook, or you feel like having a Pokies roti today, or you drive past KFC and that scent would just play on your taste buds. Yes, it happens to me all the time. But guys, no matter how much discipline we have, we always fall short because we are not perfect. But by adding up all these, we have a fair idea, and now we can estimate over a period of time, over the course of, let's say, 3 to 6 months, and place these values into our budget. But you're probably saying, if I do that, then I don't have any money to do what I have to do right now. But tell me, where do you get the money from when these expenses come over? Guys, this is not a rigid plan. It is not meant to stifle your spending power. Rather, it puts the power back into your hands right now before any of these events that we're going to face, before hard time falls on us. And with everything, you have to continue to make adjustments while you go along. Life changes, priorities changes, focus on what you can control. But what about those expenses that are truly unexpected, like accidents or a layoff, or even major repair or childcare, damaged electronics, hurricane damage, COVID-19? Surveys show that most people lose their entire life savings because of unexpected expenses. That is why we all need an emergency fund and insurance. And you can acquire the net worth calculator and the budget worksheet by requesting it through my Facebook page. I will also share it through this live. So let's talk about emergency funds. An emergency fund is set aside for emergencies. I recommend starting with a beginner fund of $1,000. But as per advice given, it should be at least a target of 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses, your major monthly expenses. It's important that you have an idea of what your fixed monthly expenses are all the time. Last week, I had some major financial setbacks, and my fund came through for me. Now, I have to put that money back because it's going to help me again in the long run. If your income does not permit you to start an emergency fund right now, don't sweat it. Use the budget worksheet to work within your means. And when things get better, focus on the consistency of building that fund. I also recommend insurance because there are some things that we just can't save up for. Unless you're like Jeff Bezos. How many of us can save up to build a house cash if it was destroyed? Or if we got cancer, how many of us could afford $30,000 a month for chemo? There are just some things that emergency funds won't cover, so you need insurance. So where are we? We're still trying to plan our way to face the future. Where do we go from here? How are we going to get here? We've assessed our net worth. We know that we need to work on reducing our liabilities and increasing our assets. We now have the tools to budget and to stick to it. And guys, this has been working for me. It has helped me to get back on track after the months of curfew. It's not a perfect system because we're all human. And remember, there's no room for perfection around here. We are all working within our means and what our money can do for us. So don't go missing meals and making yourself sick trying to fix your finances. It's a gradual process. Still think that these tips can't help you to prepare for the future? I think these tips can. If you put them to action, you will make an inkling of progress. So the next step in managing our finances going forward is to plan for the future, the actual plan. If there's two things you need to do if you're not doing it, is to find ways to bring money into your home and learn self-control. This extends to everyone, whether you're gainfully employed and most importantly, for those who've been laid off or had their businesses closed. If you've lost your job or had your income reduced or are worried about job security or you just want to supplement your income, then it's time to think about how to earn more money. If you really need the money, it's okay to work below a level of your skill set. You can look into customer service or any other types of job that would allow you to work from home. And my friends at Travel with Clem and Melinda Francois Consultancy can help you with working online and starting a business. Also, you might have some skills that you can monetize by freelancing or setting up a low-cost side hustle. It's all about challenging yourself to get creative and figuring out ways to earn more. Now, in order to achieve all of this that I just said here today, one thing plays an important role. Learn self-control. Yes, learn self-control. This is what throws off our finances. The sooner we learn the fine art of delaying gratification, the sooner we'll find it easy to keep our finances in order. We can effortlessly purchase items on credit by putting it on credit cards. We can effortlessly use the money in wallets to purchase items that can wait if we plan for it. But because of the uncertainty of the times, we need to put our financial resources into things that can help us to survive this wave. We need to cut back on non-essential spending. We need to boost our savings and find ways to bring money into our home. But what about the people who think that none of these tips can help them? What about the people that have questions like, I don't have a savings. What should I do? All the articles I've read said that now is the time you need to have some cash on hand, and that's not a great thing if you don't have it. But one of the few good things is that when you were stuck at home for the past months, you took a closer look at your spending, and in some cases, you actually saved, even if it's $20, $50, you would have saved somewhere if you tried to. And there are areas that you can cut back on and you made sacrifices for. So now it's time to just take this time and redirect that extra money that you saved from not spending on life, and put it towards a good thing like savings. And it's not a matter of just saving. You have to consider the consistency of it rather than the amount. So not because you cannot save $100 a month, you just decide, I not save it because I don't have all that money to save. It could be $20. It could be $10. Start somewhere. I recommend automating your deposits into your savings account, because once it comes from a direct deposit one time, you won't have the chance to spend it on anything else. It just comes straight from your salary to your bank account. What about the people that ask, how can I bring money into my home? Because I I hear a lot of people saying, oh, it's not so easy to increase your income. There are not many opportunities out there. It's harder than you think. Guys, a lot of people are using their skills and talents to earn extra income these days. Whether it's your backyard garden, which you can farm and sell produce, or your culinary skills, sewing, caretaking, custodian. What about those that have technological skills? There are people looking for your skill online. What in your home can you sell to bring in some cash? I didn't say that it would be easy. No, it's a quick fix. There's no easy fix in managing your finances. There's no easy fix. It's a gradual process. It's not going to be easy. What about those people that say, I'm okay for now financially, but I have no idea how bad this is going to get? How worried should I be? Is there anything else I can do? Well, if you're already observing good financial habits, you should stay the course, which is to say, keep putting money into your retirement account, make sure it's diverse, keep paying your bills, keep saving extra cash, and try to put all of this into perspective. Now, remember, I said we're all about practical tips on how to make better financial decisions, right? To help with my spending habits, especially during these uncertain times, and the fact that we have to watch our non-essential spending, I have some 4 questions that I ask myself before making those purchases when I get that temptation. And you could ask yourself some questions too. The first thing to ask, when you feel that urge of temptation to spend on something that you didn't budget for, ask yourself, is it an investment or is it indulgence? Ask yourself, did I plan for it? Ask yourself, can it wait? And then ask yourself if all these still direct you in buying that item. If you've answered yes, and you feel like, yes, I can make that purchase, ask yourself this final question. Is there a cheaper substitute? While this isn't a perfect system, it has helped me enough times and reminded me that my money wasn't long enough. It's not perfect, but it helps. Let's take a moment to talk about the hurricane season and how we can protect our finances. Because we are in the hurricane season right now. And as you can see that, it started off even way before June 1st. Is your home and contents protected? I know coming off of Hurricane Maria, there are still a few people who they're not sufficiently protected, they're not sufficiently covered. Please ensure that your insurance policies are up to date. And not even that alone, ensure that your assets are valued sufficiently, because this is where the term underinsured comes in. You want to ensure that your home is valued, your contents are valued enough based on the coverage that you're getting. We know what Hurricane Maria did to us. Let's not take that chance again. Also ensure that you have a disaster plan. Start to stock up on items. And how can you plan to buy those things? You need to budget and put those purchases in your budget to do it gradually over a period of time, so that when a storm is approaching us, you won't have to take money out and destroy your budget plan and go and rush and buy stuff. Ensure that you have a financial plan. Ensure that all your documents, all your personal identification documents are up to date and available at your reach. Let's prepare ourselves for the unknown. So to recap, the 3 things to do right now that are going to help you face uncertainty, you're going to assess where you are. Where is your finances right now? You're going to budget using the 50-30-20 worksheet and make strategic decisions. And that in turn is going to prompt you to plan for the future. Then you're going to put your plan in place. You're going to have that emergency plan. You're going to learn self-control. You're going to find some ways to earn an extra dollar. This is what we have to do because we don't know what the future holds for us. Things are starting to open back up, but that doesn't mean everything is suddenly worth doing again. Let this be a moment where we ask ourselves, who am I really excited to see and spend time with? What activities were really enriching my life before COVID? Are they enriching now? Will they enrich my life now? What is actually worth spending money on right now? We shouldn't go back to being wasteful with our time, our money, and our friendships. Now is the time to finally start saying no to most things so you can say yes to what really matters. And in most of our cases, it's our finances. I'd also like to end by saying that though a lot of this pertains to personal management, personal finance management, the principles of it are also applicable to small businesses. Because just as I use the 50-40-20 budget system to assess my performance and make strategic decisions, so should a small business use its financial reports to help navigate this current environment. It should review its business model in order to adapt to this new environment. Are there any questions that you all have that can help you to move forward in these uncertain times? Yes, you have to be strategic with everything. Today, a few guys got to know what their net worth is. Some may not be pleased, but that only means you got to work on it. Any questions? So thank you for listening. Be sure to share this live with your friends, families, and colleagues, and who may have missed it. Keep up the good work, Digicel, and everyone stay focused. That is, financed focused.